The first time I saw Sophia, she was a storm tearing through the quiet of my freshman year at Willow Creek University, her leather boots stomping across the quad like she owned it. I was 18, a shy girl from a small Ohio town, clutching my books like a shield, and she was the chaos I didn't know I needed or feared. By the end of that year, she'd become the nightmare that haunted my dreams, and yet, a decade later, she's the woman I call my wife. My name is Elena Harper, and back in 2015, I was a nervous wreck navigating the sprawling campus of Willow Creek, a liberal arts college nestled in the rolling hills of Pennsylvania. The air smelled of crisp apples and ambition, and I was there on a scholarship, determined to prove I belonged. I'd grown up in a town where everyone knew your business, where being different wasn't just frowned upon, it was erased. So, when I arrived at college, I thought I could finally breathe, maybe even figure out who I was. But Sophia Martinez had other plans for me. She was in my intro to literature class, always slouched in the back row, her dark eyes scanning the room like she was sizing everyone up. Sophia was 18 too, but she carried herself like she'd already lived 100 lives. Her short black hair was always a little messy, and she had this scar on her left cheek, a thin, jagged line she never explained. She'd argue with our professor about Austen or Whitman with a fire that made my heart race, even if I didn't understand half of what she said. I was drawn to her, but I was terrified of her too. She was everything I wasn't. Bold, unapologetic, and dangerously magnetic. One October afternoon, I was in the library, buried in a stack of books about romantic poetry, when Sophia dropped into the chair across from me without warning. "You're Elena, right?" she said, her voice low and teasing like she knew something I didn't. I nodded, my cheeks burning, unable to meet her gaze. "Why do you always look like you're about to bolt?" she asked, leaning forward, her leather jacket creaking. I mumbled something about being busy, but she just smirked and said, "You're too quiet for your own good, Harper. Let's fix that." That was the start of it, Sophia dragging me into her world. She'd show up at my dorm unannounced, pulling me to campus parties or late-night diner runs. She'd talk about her dreams of becoming a writer, her voice alive with passion, and I'd listen, captivated, forgetting my own fears. But there was an edge to her, a recklessness that scared me. She'd flirt with danger-skipping classes, sneaking into bars with a fake ID, or picking fights with anyone who looked at her wrong. And yet, when she smiled at me, it was like the world softened, like I was the only thing that mattered. By spring semester, I was in love with her, though I didn't have the words for it yet. I'd never thought about loving a woman before, not because I didn't want to, but because I'd never let myself imagine it was possible. Growing up, I'd been taught that love looked one way. A man, a woman, a white picket fence. But Sophia was rewriting everything I thought I knew. One night, under a sky full of stars, we sat on the roof of the arts building, passing a stolen bottle of wine. She looked at me, her eyes softer than I'd ever seen, and said, "You're different, Elena. You make me want to be better." My heart stopped, and before I could overthink it, I leaned in and kissed her. That kiss was my world catching fire. Her lips were warm, tasting of wine and rebellion, and for the first time I felt alive. But Sophia pulled back, her face unreadable. "You don't know what you're getting into," she whispered, and then she was gone, leaving me alone on that roof, my heart shattered. The next day, she acted like nothing had happened. Worse, she started pulling away. She'd skip our usual hangouts, dodge my calls, and when I saw her, she was always with new people, louder, wilder, like she was trying to erase me. I was devastated, but I didn't know how to confront her. I'd bared my soul, and she'd rejected it. By the end of freshman year, Sophia was a ghost in my life, and I was left picking up the pieces of a heart I didn't know could break so badly. Sophomore year brought rumors. Sophia was dating someone Newa senior named Rachel, who was as fierce as she was. They were the talk of campus, always together, always fighting, always making up in dramatic public ways. I'd see them in the quad, Sophia's arm around Rachel's waist, and it felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I tried to move on, focusing on my studies, joining the campus newspaper, but every word I wrote carried her name. I hated her for making me feel so much, for showing me a version of myself I couldn't unsee, then leaving me to drown in it. One night, at a party I'd been dragged to, I saw Sophia alone, leaning against a wall, a drink in her hand. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. I wanted to walk away, but my feet carried me to her. "What's wrong?" I asked, my voice shaking. She looked at me, and for a moment I saw the Sophia I'd fallen for, vulnerable, real. "I messed up, Elena," she said. "I always do." Before I could ask what she meant, Rachel appeared, pulling Sophia away, and I was left standing there, my heart pounding with questions I'd never get to ask. That was the last time we spoke for years. Sophia dropped out before junior year, and I heard she'd moved to New York, chasing her writing dreams. I stayed at Willow Creek, graduated, and tried to build a life without her. But every relationship I tried fell apart because no one could compare to the storm that was Sophia Martinez. I told myself I was over her, that she was just a painful memory. But life has a way of laughing at your plans. 10 years later, I'm 28, working as a journalist in Philadelphia, living a life that's safe, predictable. I'm engaged to a kind man named David, who checks all the boxes. Stable job, warm smile, loves me in a way that's steady. But steady isn't enough when your heart still aches for a hurricane. One day, while covering a local literary festival, I see her name on the program. Sophia Martinez, debut novelist. My stomach drops. I want to run, but I don't. I go to her reading, and there she is standing at a podium, her voice as electric as ever, reading from a book that feels like it's about us. Afterward, I linger, my heart racing. She sees me, and her face lights up, then softens with something like regret. "Elena," she says, stepping closer. "I didn't think you'd come." We talk, and it's like no time has passed, but every word is heavy with the weight of our history. She tells me she's single, that she's been running from herself for years, that she wrote her book to make sense of the mess she made with me. I want to hate her, but I can't. I'm still in love with her, and it terrifies me. That night, we end up at a quiet bar, talking until closing. She tells me about her life, how she struggled with her identity, how she pushed me away because she was scared of what loving me meant. "I was a coward," she says, her eyes wet. "But I never stopped thinking about you." I tell her about David, about the life I'm supposed to want, but the words feel hollow. When she reaches for my hand, I don't pull away. And when she kisses me, it's like coming home. But love isn't that simple. David deserves the truth, and I'm not the girl I was at 18, willing to let Sophia's chaos sweep me away. I need answers, and I need to know if she's worth risking everything for. As we stand in that autumn park, leaves falling around us, I realize this is only the beginning. Sophia was my nightmare, but she might also be my forever. And I have to decide if I'm brave enough to find out. The weeks after that night at the bar are a blur of stolen moments and sleepless nights. Sophia and I meet in secret, always in quiet places, a diner on the edge of town, a park bench under fading daylight where no one knows us. Each time I see her, my resolve weakens. Her laugh, her touch, the way she looks at me like I'm the only thing keeping her grounded, it's intoxicating. But every moment with her is shadowed by guilt. David doesn't know, and I'm tearing myself apart trying to figure out how to tell him I might not love him the way I thought. Sophia is different now, softer in some ways, but still carrying that wild energy that drew me to her a decade ago. She tells me about her life after Willow Creek, how she bounced between jobs in New York, writing in dive bars until dawn, trying to outrun the shame of who she was. "I wasn't ready for you back then," she says one evening, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. "I didn't know how to be the person you deserved." Her words hit me hard, but they don't erase the pain of her rejection all those years ago. I want to believe she's changed, but trust is a fragile thing, and mine is still bruised. I start pulling away from David, canceling plans, dodging his questions. He's patient, but I see the hurt in his eyes, and it kills me. One night he confronts me. "Elena, what's going on?" he asks, his voice steady but laced with worry. We're in our apartment, a cozy place filled with photos of us smiling, a life I thought I wanted. I open my mouth to lie, to say I'm just stressed, but the truth spills out instead. "I saw Sophia," I say, and his face falls. He knows her name, knows the story of my college heartbreak because I told him years ago, thinking it was behind me. "Do you love her?" he asks, and I can't answer. I don't know how to explain that I love him, but Sophia is a fire in my veins I can't extinguish. The next day, I meet Sophia at a bookstore, her book signing event packed with fans. She's magnetic, reading passages with a passion that makes my heart ache. After, we slip into a back room, and she pulls me close. "I want to do this right this time," she whispers. "No running, no hiding." But I'm not ready to promise her anything. I tell her about David, about the ring on my finger, about the life I'm supposed to live. She doesn't flinch, just nods and says, "I'll wait for you, Elena. As long as it takes." Her words are a lifeline, but they also feel like a weight, pulling me deeper into a choice I'm not ready to make. I start digging into Sophia's past, trying to understand who she is now. I find her old blog posts, raw and unfiltered, where she wrote about her struggles with her sexuality, her fear of disappointing her conservative family, her guilt over hurting me. One post, dated a year after she left Willow Creek, stops me cold. I loved her, but I was too broken to let her love me back. I cry reading it because it's the Sophia I knew, fierce, flawed, and so human it hurts. But it also makes me angry. Why didn't she fight for me then? Why did she let me drown in her absence? I confront her about it one chilly November evening, the city lights glittering around us as we walk along the Schuylkill River. "Why didn't you tell me how you felt?" I demand, my voice breaking. "You left me thinking I wasn't enough." Sophia stops, her breath visible in the cold air. "I thought I was saving you," she says. "You were so good, Elena, so pure, and I was a mess. I didn't want to drag you down with me." Her honesty disarms me, but it doesn't heal the wound. I tell her I need time, and she nods, her eyes full of a sadness I can't bear to look at. Back home, David and I have the hardest conversation of my life. I tell him everything, how Sophia broke me, how she's back, how I'm torn between the life we've built and the one I might want with her. He listens, his face calm but pale. "I love you, Elena," he says, "but I can't be your second choice." He asks for the ring back, and I give it to him, my hands shaking. We cry together, not because we hate each other, but because we both know this is the end. I move out the next day, crashing with a friend, feeling like I've lost everything but gained a chance at something I don't fully understand. Sophia and I start spending more time together, but it's not the fairy tale I imagined. We argue about her past, about my indecision, about the years we lost. One night she tells me about Rachel, the girl she dated after me. "She was a band-aid," Sophia says. "I thought I could forget you, but I couldn't." Her words sting because I wasn't the only one who suffered. But they also make me see her clearly, not as the untouchable storm I idolized, but as a woman who's been fighting her own demons just like me. By December, I'm falling for her all over again, but it's different this time. It's not the blind, reckless love of college. It's cautious, deliberate, built on the ashes of who we used to be. We spend Christmas Eve together, walking through a snowy park, holding hands like we're afraid to let go. She gives me a copy of her book inscribed with the words, "To Elena, my muse, my regret, my hope." I cry because it's the first time I believe she might love me as much as I love her. But there's still a part of me that's scared she'll run again. Scared I'm not enough to keep her. As the new year approaches, I'm standing at a crossroads. Sophia wants us to move forward, to build a life together. But I'm still haunted by the past. I need to know if I can trust her, if I can trust myself. The girl who loved Sophia at 18 is still inside me, but I'm not her anymore. I'm stronger, wiser, and terrified of getting hurt again. But as I look at Sophia, her eyes full of hope and fear, I realize that love isn't about being fearless. It's about choosing to try, even when you're scared. Winter in Philadelphia is brutal, but Sophia makes it feel warm. We're inseparable now, spending evenings curled up in her tiny apartment, reading her manuscripts or watching old movies. She's opened up more, sharing stories of her childhood in a strict household, where being herself was a rebellion. I tell her about my own upbringing, the pressure to be perfect, the fear of disappointing everyone. We're peeling back layers, finding the parts of ourselves we hid for so long. But the past still lingers like a shadow we can't outrun. One night I find an old photo of us from college, tucked in a box of keepsakes. We're laughing, arms around each other, carefree in a way I barely remember. "I kept this," I admit, showing it to Sophia. Her face softens, but there's pain in her eyes. "I don't deserve you keeping that," she says. "I hurt you so bad." I want to argue, to say it's okay, but it's not. The hurt is still there, and I need to face it if we're going to move forward. So I ask her to tell me everything, why she really left, what she was running from. Sophia takes a deep breath and starts talking. She tells me about the panic she felt after our kiss, how it forced her to confront her feelings for women in a way she wasn't ready for. Her family's expectations, her own self-loathing, it all crashed down on her. "I pushed you away because I was scared of losing you," she says, her voice breaking. "But I lost you anyway." I listen, my heart aching for the girl she was, but also angry for the pain she caused. "You didn't just lose me," I say. "You broke me." We sit in silence, the weight of our history heavy between us. The next day I suggest therapy, not just for us as a couple but for me. I need to untangle the mess of emotions Sophia stirs up. She agrees, even offers to go with me, but I know I need to do this alone first. My therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Ellis, helps me see that my love for Sophia is tied to my own journey of self-acceptance. Growing up, I buried my attraction to women, convinced it was wrong. Sophia was the first person who made me feel like it wasn't, but she also made me feel like it was dangerous. Dr. Ellis asks me what I want now, and I realize I don't just want Sophia, I want to be whole, with or without her. Sophia starts therapy too, and it's like watching her rebuild herself. She's honest about her flaws, her fear of commitment, her tendency to self-sabotage. One evening, she shows me a letter she wrote to her younger self, forgiving her for the mistakes she made. "I'm trying to be someone you can trust," she tells me, and I believe her. But trust isn't built overnight. We take it slow, setting boundaries, being honest even when it hurts. It's messy, but it's real. By spring, we're officially dating, and it feels like a new beginning. We go on real dates, dinner at a cozy Italian place, walks through art galleries, even a weekend trip to the Poconos. Sophia's book is gaining traction, and I'm proud of her, but I'm also carving out my own space. I pitch a feature to my editor about queer love stories, inspired by my own journey. It's accepted, and for the first time, I feel like I'm telling my truth, not just reporting someone else's. But life isn't a straight line. One day, I get a call from Rachel, Sophia's ex from college. She's in town and wants to meet. Against my better judgment, I agree. Rachel is still intense, her presence commanding, but there's a sadness in her now. She tells me she and Sophia were toxic together, that Sophia's chaos matched her own back then. "She loved you, you know," Rachel says. "Even when she was with me, she talked about you." I'm stunned but also angry. Why did Sophia never tell me? When I confront her, she admits it's true. "I was trying to protect you," she says, but I'm tired of her excuses. We argue and I storm out, needing space. For a week we don't talk. I throw myself into work, but I'm miserable. I miss her, but I'm scared of being hurt again. Dr. Ellis helps me see that love isn't about guarantees, it's about choosing someone every day, flaws and all. I realize I've been holding Sophia to an impossible standard, expecting her to erase the past. But I also need her to meet me halfway. I call her and we meet at our park, the one where this all started. I'm scared, I admit. But I want Thysis. Sophia takes my hand, her eyes steady. "I'm all in, Elena. No more running." That night we make a promisito, be honest, to fight for each other, to build something real. It's not perfect, but it's ours. As we walk through the park, cherry blossoms falling around us, I feel a peace I haven't known before. Sophia isn't my nightmare anymore. She's my partner, my love, my challenge. And I'm ready to face whatever comes next, as long as she's by my side. Summer brings a new rhythm to our relationship. Sophia moves in with me, and our small apartment becomes a canvas for our life together, books stacked haphazardly, her typewriter on the desk, my plants crowding the windowsill. We're learning each other's quirks, like how she leaves dishes in the sink but always makes my coffee just right, or how I hum when I'm nervous and she finds it adorable. It's not always easy. Living together exposes our rough edges, but every fight ends with us talking it out, determined to make this work. I'm still working on my feature about queer love stories, and it's forcing me to confront my own. I interview couples, young and old, who fought for their love against odds, family rejection, societal pressure, their own doubts. Their stories mirror ours, and I start to see Sophia and me as part of something bigger. One couple, two women in their 60s, tell me how they hid their relationship for decades but never stopped loving each other. "Love is a choice," one says. "You choose it every day, even when it's hard." Those words stick with me, grounding me when doubts creep in. Sophia's book tour takes her away for weeks at a time, and the distance tests us. I'm proud of her success, but I hate the lonely nights, the way her voice sounds tinny over the phone. One night, she calls me from Chicago, her voice heavy. I saw my parents today, she says. She hasn't spoken to them in years, not since she came out and they called her a disgrace. They showed up at my signing, Elena. They didn't say anything, just stared at me like I was a stranger. My heart breaks for her, and I wish I could hold her. When she comes home, I do, and we cry together, mourning the family she lost but grateful for the one we're building. My feature is published and it's a hit. My editor wants more, and suddenly I'm getting offers to write a book of my own. Sophia is my biggest cheerleader, reading my drafts, pushing me to dig deeper. But success brings its own challenges. Her fame is growing, and with it comes attention, fans, critics, and old flames. One day, I find a letter from Rachel tucked in her bag, asking to reconnect. Sophia swears she hasn't responded, but the sight of it reopens old wounds. Why do you still have this? I ask, my voice sharp. She looks guilty, admitting she kept it out of nostalgia, not love. We argue, but this time we don't let it fester. We talk, we listen, we forgive. By fall we're stronger, but life throws another curveball. My mom, who's been quietly supportive since I came out to her, gets sick. I fly to Ohio to be with her, and Sophia insists on coming. It's the first time she meets my family, and I'm nervous. My mom is kind but reserved, still adjusting to the idea of me with a woman. But Sophia is charming, helping with chores, telling stories that make my mom laugh. One night, my mom pulls me aside and says, "She loves you, Elena. I can see it. Don't let fear stop you from holding on to that." Her words hit me hard because I've been holding back, afraid of losing Sophia again. Back in Philadelphia, Sophia and I start talking about the future, marriage, kids, a life beyond the city. It's scary, but it's also exciting. One evening, she takes me to the park where we reconnected, the leaves now a fiery red. She gets down on one knee, a simple silver ring in her hand. "Elena Harper," she says, her voice shaking. "I was a fool once, but I'm not anymore. Will you marry me?" I'm crying, laughing, nodding, because this is the moment I've been waiting for, even when I didn't know it. I say yes, and we kiss under the autumn sky, the world feeling impossibly bright. Planning a wedding isn't easy, especially when we're both stubborn and broke. We fight over details, venues, guest lists, whether we should have a band or a DJ, but it's a good kind of chaos. My friends throw us a surprise engagement party, and for the first time I feel like I belong somewhere, surrounded by people who love us for who we are. Even David sends a card wishing me happiness, and it feels like closure. Sophia and I are building something real, something worth fighting for. But as the wedding approaches, I start to feel the weight of what we're doing. Marriage isn't just a promise, it's a leap into the unknown. I love Sophia, but I'm scared of the what ifs. What if she runs again? What if I'm not enough? Dr. Ellis helps me work through it, reminding me that love is a risk, but it's one worth taking. Sophia senses my fear and doesn't push. Instead, she shows up every day, proving she's here to stay. And slowly I start to believe her. Our wedding is small, held in a garden outside Philadelphia, with fairy lights strung through the trees and our closest friends and family around us. I wear a simple white dress, and Sophia looks stunning in a tailored suit, her scar catching the light as she smiles at me. When we say our vows, I promise to choose her every day, to love her through the storms. She promises to stay, to fight for us, to be my home. We kiss, and the world feels right, like every piece of my heart has finally found its place. The reception is a blur of laughter, dancing, and toasts that make us cry. My mom, now recovering, gives a speech about love being a journey, not a destination. Sophia's brother, the only family member who showed up, hugs her tightly, whispering something that makes her eyes shine. We dance to a slow song, her arms around me, and I realize I'm not scared anymore. This is what love looks like, not perfect, but ours. After the wedding, we settle into married life, and it's both ordinary and extraordinary. We argue over whose turn it is to do the laundry, but we also dream big about traveling, about adopting a kid someday, about growing old together. My book is coming along, and Sophia's working on her second novel, inspired by our story. We're not running from the past anymore. We're building on it, using its lessons to make us stronger. One day I find Sophia in our living room, rereading her old blog posts. "I was so lost back then," she says, her voice soft. "But you found me." I sit beside her, taking her hand. "We found each other," I say, and it's true. Our love isn't a fairy tale, it's been messy, painful, and hard one. But it's also beautiful, full of moments that make my heart soar. Like when she kisses my forehead in the morning, or when we laugh until we can't breathe. Looking back, I see how far we've come. Sophia was my nightmare at university, a storm that tore through my life and left me broken. But she was also my awakening, the person who showed me who I could be. Now she's my wife, my partner, my love. Our story isn't perfect, but it's ours, and it's taught me that love is worth the risk, the pain, the fight. Because in the end, it's not about finding someone who never hurts you, it's about finding someone worth hurting for. Someone who chooses you back, every single day. As we sit in our apartment planning our first anniversary, I know we'll face more challenges. Life isn't done testing us. But I also know we're ready. Sophia and I have learned to weather storms together, to hold on when it's hard, to love fiercely and without apology. And that's enough. It's more than enough. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.